Alright guys, my name is Goblin and welcome to my Paladin PvE healing guide for Classic WoW. It's important to note that this video will be relevant for every single phase of a game, so don't worry when you're watching this video, it will be useful to you. Today we're going to cover a number of topics: talents, stat priority and pre-raid best in slot gear, enchants, consumables, and lastly we'll finish off talking about the healing playstyle. Just before we jump in guys, please do give me a quick follow on Twitch. I'm streaming over there as much as I can right now. So let's jump in, let's start talking about talents. For talents you have two main builds, your standard healing build and then your Blessing of a Sanctuary build. So let's talk about this build first of all. The build really focuses around one key talent that is called Illumination, so let's read this very quickly. After getting a critical effect from your Flash of Light, Holy Light or Holy Shock spell, you get a 100% chance to gain mana equal to the base cost of that spell. This means when a paladin stacks enough crit, he will basically become an infinite mana machine because you're going to get 100% of your mana actually refunded to you once you've got your spell crit and your intellect stacked high enough. All the other talents here, they're really just flat out increasing your healing, and you spec slightly into basically protection spec to pick up Blessing of Kings, and you can spec slightly into Retribution to get improved Blessing of Might. However, you may not want to go, you don't have to go for this talent here, you can swap it up with something else if you really want to. You know, again, it has to be discussed between you and your class leaders. You know, I'm buffing, you know, each paladin will have a buffing role, like one paladin buffs Bomb, one buffs Bok, one buffs Blessing of Sanctuary, one buffs Blessing of Wisdom, and so on. And basically you have to decide what paladin you're going to be, what paladin you're going to buff, sorry, what buff you're going to give, and then you can basically mix and match and kind of move around your talents slightly depending on what buff you're actually providing for the raid. However, it is mostly better to just kind of get Blessing of Kings anyway, because sometimes you're going to be in dungeons and Blessing of Kings is going to be more useful, you know, than certain other buffs for certain other classes. So here we have the Blessing of Sanctuary build. So one paladin in the raid group will have to spec slightly deeper into protection to basically pick up Blessing of Sanctuary. And obviously Blessing of Sanctuary is a really useful buff for mainly tanks, but you know it can be applied to other people in the raid as well. Another really key talent that you pick up along the way to getting Blessing of Sanctuary is improved concentration aura. So it increases the effect of your concentration aura by an additional 15% and gives all group members, you know, well, the extra effect isn't incredibly important, but the main thing here is obviously that stacks with the standard thing that you get from concentration aura. So the best thing to do with a paladin who's spec'd into improved concentration aura is to dip him into a ranged caster group, because obviously if he's in a ranged caster group he's going to massively increase the DPS of that ranged caster group because they're going to have their casts interrupted less. So let's talk about the stat priority. The stat priority is as it stands: healing power, then intellect, then spell crit, then MP5, and then stamina. So the reason why you go for healing power first over spell crit, even though I said all these amazing things about spell crit, is that you just simply need your healing to actually be good, right, before it does crits. So the main way to do that is obviously to stack healing power. You can't really get any spell, you can't get any spell power from intellect, so you stack raw healing power, and this means you can start to down rank your spells, which in the long run means that you actually save a lot of mana because you're using lower rank spells. So the next stat that we stack after healing power is intellect. The reason why we do this is because first of all obviously it increases your mana pool, which increases your boss fight endurance, but also because 54 points of intellect actually provides 1% crit, and obviously that roughly calculates at about 2 pieces of intellect gear is going to give you 1% crit, so it kind of kills 2 birds with 1 stone. And obviously we need enhanced spell crit to proc our illumination, which refunds all of our mana. So your main mana efficiency actually comes from stacking spell crit rather than MP5, and that's why MP5 is a little bit further down. MP5 is still useful, but you're going to get more mana efficiency out of stacking your healing power really high so you can down rank your spells, and obviously to also stack intellect and spell crit so you get all your mana refunded. And that's pretty much what makes Paladin, you know, stand out from the other healers. That's what their jam is. You're stacking loads of healing power and spell crit, so you never actually need mana regeneration because you're just getting 100% of your mana refunded. So let's start talking about pre-raid best in slot and all the nuts and bolts that a paladin needs in order to get himself raid ready. So as always guys, with my PvE guides, I have a really big Google Drive document which basically has everything you need to know. You can find that in the description of the video. Here we have all the pre-raid best in slot gear, and then as you go along you basically get more gear depending on what phase is out. So obviously I want this guide to be relevant for every single phase of the game. Here is mostly like gear that you can get from Diamol in phase 2. You jump over here, you got all your enchants, and again, as you go along, more and more enchants, actually release, so better enchants come out for the Paladin, and that is signified by this section of the drive document. And then here we have all the consumables that you need, mana consumables, flasks, elixirs, alcohol, even like weapon oils and extra world bonuses that you can get, all your defensives that you're probably going to need for very specific raid encounters, and all the good stuff basically. And then the next tab you have talents. So obviously if you need to check up on your talents, both of the builds are here in the Google Drive document. You don't need to check them out anywhere else. So let's start talking about the Holy Paladin healing playstyle. You've probably heard this meme that all you do is spam Flash of Light and that's it. Like you press the key for Flash of Light and that's pretty much all you do as a Holy Paladin until you've cleared Naxxramas. And to an extent that is kind of true. Because the reason why Flash of Light is so good obviously is because if you're casting a faster heal, you are casting more heals, which means you have a higher chance for those heals to overall have a critical effect, which means obviously you get that mana refunded. So a lot of the time you are just spamming Flash of Light, and that's it. Another reason why you are spamming Flash of Light most of the time is because basically a lot of the time you can accidentally overheal, particularly a tank, because they're getting healed by other people as well. By the time you've casted a Holy Light, the healer, the tank, whoever you're trying to heal, his heal might have been topped up to the point where that Holy Light, the healing from the Holy Light has like capped, it's turned into an overheal, therefore it's less mana efficient. So a lot of the time you are just spamming less expensive heals so that you don't overheal, and obviously when you start stacking loads of healing power you can down rank that and it becomes extremely mana efficient because it barely costs any mana to cost you a flash of heal. There are times when Holy Light is going to be useful. I mean, for instance, in dungeons I like to cast Holy Light sparingly. I like, whenever I'm playing any healer, to be honest, what I do is I cast a max rank big heal, but I use it sparingly, so I'm not casting all the time, which means I have maximum mana efficiency because I'm regenerating my mana. Apart from that, Holy Shock becomes useful sometimes, but again, very rarely. If your tank or anyone is dying and they're going below 30% health, maybe even 20% health, and you know that they might be dead by the time you've cast a Flash of Light on, then yeah, fair enough, a Holy Shock will be able to fit in. You can basically cast a Holy Shock instantly into a Flash of Light to burst someone's health up as fast as humanly possible. And obviously Divine Favour comes in useful as well. When you pop Divine Favour, your next heal is a crit. You pretty much just use it whenever you need to. But to be fair, it's probably more useful saving it for phases, boss phases which are going to be particularly difficult. And obviously another really big part of playing a Paladin is your buffs. Okay, you need to buff the group, and you need to remember how to do that. You need to coordinate with your class leader and the other Paladins in the group, who's buffing what. And there's probably add-ons that you can get as well. I'll link those in the description too. Basically that's going to help you with the buffing process, because refreshing your buffs is a really, really important aspect of playing a Paladin, because you're basically kind of like a little mini bard class in that aspect, because the buffs are so ridiculously useful and they're useful for the entire raid. So, and another really important thing next to buffing people is dispelling people, so always remember to dispel people pretty much as soon as it's called for by the raid leader, because that's, dispelling on time and being quick for your dispels, remembering to buff. To be honest, those two things are going to make you stand out more than your actual, healing on the healing meters. If you're a healer and the leaders can see that you're doing a lot of dispels, they can see that you're doing your buffs on time and everything, then you're going to be a well respected and just generally a valuable raid member. So they're my general recommendations anyway. That's where I'm going to end the video there, guys. My name is Goblin. Until my next video, ciao.